I don't know about you guys, but I have this annoying habit of constantly going back and forth between being completely okay or having anxiety and depression. If you're anything like me, as I'm working on my mental health, I realize that abstract thinking doesn't really work well for me. And I love me some practical tips that I can start implementing into my own life. In today's video, I'm gonna share a practical diagram that'll change the way that you see anxiety and depression so that you can feel empowered in your own self-healing journey. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Before we get started, there are two important things to know. Number one, we have 6,000 to 7,000 thoughts per day. That's a lot for our brain to keep track of. So to be more efficient in the thinking process, our brain is constantly trying to find patterns throughout all of our thoughts to act on autopilot so that we can free up more mind space for other things, like decision making. And number two, everything in the universe has an opposite. So the biggest examples would be life and death, hate and love, fear and faith. One can't exist without the other, but you can't experience both at the same time. You can only experience one or the other. So let's go ahead and get into the practical diagram that I mentioned earlier in the video. This comes from the late Bob Proctor, whose videos were actually the first to help me out of my anxiety and depression. I'll go ahead and link his video on anxiety in the comments and in the description box below if you wanted to hear his full explanation of it. So Bob starts off with a visual like this. I know it looks super lame, but bear with me, okay? So the bottom circle represents our body. The top circle represents our mind, and it breaks up into two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. Imagine it's like a chain effect that goes from our mind down through our body. The conscious mind represents our thinking, and that's where we're able to either accept or reject whatever thought comes in. Whatever we accept, though, slides down into our subconscious mind where it can only accept what it's given. The subconscious mind is what we believe, but it's also where our emotions come into play. So the takeaway from that is that we can actually choose which thoughts we allow into our minds. If we're not already self-aware that we have this choice, we'll just run on autopilot and accept everything and anything that comes into our mind. Whatever pattern the brain makes of itself is ultimately what we believe to be true about ourselves. If the majority of our thoughts are negative, we're more likely to experience more negativity in our life. And vice versa, if the majority of our thoughts are positive, we're more likely to be leading a more positive life. Since there's a negative and positive to everything in the universe, including our thoughts, we can choose to either think a negative or positive thought in any situation that we're in. So in this case, we can choose to doubt and worry, or we can just choose to have faith that everything's just gonna work out on its own. So on the negative side of the spectrum, these thoughts of doubt and worry or overthinking in general eventually lead to having that emotion of fear. And when we keep allowing these negative thoughts and feelings in, instead of actually dealing with them through some outlet like journaling, meditating, working out, whatever the case may be, that energy becomes suppressed in our body and manifests itself as anxiety. And once you get anxiety, you get the physical symptoms of shortness of breath, muscle tension, headaches, your heart beating fast. Symptoms of anxiety could feel different for different people. But ultimately, when anxiety is suppressed for longer periods of time, it could then become depression. So the root cause of all of this is likely that we just don't understand ourselves. And the difficulties come in when instead of controlling our thoughts and our mind first, we tune into our bodies first. And when we have depression and anxiety, it doesn't feel really good, right? So as a result, our thoughts and our beliefs aren't going to be great either. So let's try to understand it from the other way around. When we think more positively, when we can truly understand the way our minds work, You know what naturally happens as a result of that? Having faith and understanding that all things are going to work out eventually. Like Bob said, faith based on understanding is the key to freedom. You won't be able to see how good life can be, though, until you're able to take that leap of faith. You have to believe in it before you can actually see it. That's what faith really is. So having the emotion of faith plays out in our bodies as self-expression and well-being. So instead of our bodies being in dis-ease or disease, our bodies are then at ease. And this isn't a one and done thing. Like, this is something that you have to put forth the conscious effort to do every single day, all day. And that's why it's so hard in the beginning. And I'm not at all discounting anyone else's experiences. Like, I know that there are a lot of people out there who have experienced really bad trauma in their life that I can't even personally imagine for myself. And that's exactly why there's no limit on anyone's timeline to heal. Like, everyone's healing journey is going to look completely different from the other. And that's why I'll be here trying to help you shift over to the positive side with every single video I make. And the only thing you gotta do is study and practice on your own, because no one can do that for you but you. So through slowing down, listening to your own thoughts, and weeding out the ones that don't belong there, the more you practice this, as with anything in life, it'll just become second nature. It'll just become a new pattern that your brain picks up on and sees. And then before you know it, life is gonna look and feel badass. You know what I'm saying? But I genuinely see this path so clearly for everyone on this earth. It's just a matter of you choosing it for yourself. If you want more help on how to better manage your thoughts, go ahead and click this video right here where I'll share some practical tips on how to overcome anxiety. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!